Hello everyone and welcome back to Platform 1. You're joined by myself and Dave once again. And last week you will have seen that we had a bit of a bumper episode really with a lot of big news from across the hobby. And to be honest, we almost had to do another episode this week, didn't we?
It's not stopped, has it?
It really hasn't.
We joke every week. Well, it's a bit of a serious joke really, that it's so busy in the model railway industry at the moment with so many exciting new releases coming through. And we just had to really squeeze it all in again today. So we'll be here for the next hour. We'll be discussing all the latest new releases and model railway news from this week, as well as giving you guys the opportunity to ask some questions as well. So do get those questions in the live chat. But it is a busy week.
It really is. Like you say, we joke about this all the time, but we really had to pick what we got in the show this week because there's just been so many great releases, a lot of which you can see on the table already. Yes. There's a lot of excitement here, so do let us know what you're most excited for in the comments as well. And do make sure to ask any questions as we go on, and our lovely elves in the background will feed those through to me, and we can get those questions answered for you. We've already got a few people on stream here. We've got always our familiar faces here today. We've got 700 Shunter from Australia. Ethan Amstutz says, good morning, ready for some Platform 1. Charles Curtis, hello everyone. Great way to start off a Friday morning, wherever you are. Bluegrass Rail fan says, morning guys, hope it's been a good week. Certainly has been, and there's plenty of action today. We've got Richard Svidersky says, good afternoon, and we've got Clive Cabal says, here we go again. So let's crack on with the show.
Well, we're going to have to change the plan a little bit, I think, here, Jack, because we did have everything ready, the table was set up, me and Jack were sitting down, and as usually happens, we got some absolutely hot off the press breaking news, and this is from Dapol, isn't it, in double O gauge?
It certainly is.
This really is hot off the press within the last hour or so, and they are releasing a second batch of the Class 68 locomotives in double O in the Transpennine livery, which has really been asked for quite a few modelers. The first time we had this in stock, it sold out in a day. So this really is an iconic livery that's in demand. Dapol have asked for expressions of interest at the moment. So if you place a pre-order with us, we'll let Dapol know our figures, and then we can hopefully get this model into production to mean there's some more Transpennine 68s.
That's it. So the first one that they covered was Brutus, wasn't it? And we've got two more coming through. So they're going to be covering 68023 and 68032 as well. As you will have seen on that photo, those two locomotives were there up in York Station. But as Dave says, you really want to get your pre-order in if you want to see this model develop, because if there isn't enough pre-orders, it won't go ahead. So do make sure to get that in there. And as Dave said, that first batch went out straight away. I just about managed to get my own. So it's definitely worth putting that pre-order in to make sure that you get one as well.
And the pre-order prices and the products are available to see on our website as well, so check out that link in the description. The pre-order price for the standard analog version is £136, and if you want it digital fitted, it's £161.50, which is a real bargain for this really contemporary livery. The Class 68 is fully digital capable with working lights, including the halo lights as well, so it's an absolutely exquisite model, and there's been a huge amount of demand. It's one of the questions we get asked the most is as to whether the Transpennine livery will be available again. So this really is the chance. If you want this livery, if you want another one to go with one you managed to grab previously, this is the chance to get yours. And as said, Dapol are only going to make it if they get enough numbers. So let us know your numbers, send us a pre-order, and we can pass that on to Dapol, and fingers crossed we get them through.
It really is a perfect time to pre-order one as well, with the Class 68 story being such, in its infancy really, but a lot of stuff already going on with them in this contemporary Transpennine livery. They're going to start being used with the Mark V coaches. I think they've actually started using them a few times already. And they will also, I've seen being, sorry, that was completely broken there. They have been in use with a few different operators already on different wagon trains and different freight workings as well, and other passenger services too. So it is quite an exciting livery to go for there, because there's a lot of use for it and a lot of stock available to run with them too.
There really is. There's a lot of opportunities for double O gauge modelers there. So do have a look at that link in the description and get your pre-order in.
Definitely.
I think we've got to go back to the plan now in that case. So we've had that little bit of breaking news, but of course we've got a table full of new releases and new items to show you here today. And the first ones to start off with are some of Hornby's new releases. It's come quite thick and fast this week, really. It's really come through from them with a lot of models in double O scale. The first one to take a closer look at is the Class 31. And this is making a welcome return to the range in two really iconic liveries as well.
As you can see right there, we've got Network Rail Yellow, which we've not seen on this model, I think before, or not for a long time anyway.
Not for a few years now.
And it's, you know, it's always an extremely popular livery. And of course, you've got the classic BR blue colour scheme there, one of the earlier liveries from the class. So this is really showing off quite a lot of the lifespan of the class there from different eras. The Network Rail one, like we said though, that's a very popular livery. No matter what is in Network Rail, it tends to go out very quickly, doesn't it?
It really does. Anything in the Network Rail. We've had the coaches recently, the Mark IIF vehicles that have now sold out. This 31 I don't think is going to last much longer. And these are one of the UK's diesel dinosaurs almost. They're actually one of the first full-size diesel locomotives introduced to British Rail right back in 1957.
They really were a pioneer for British Rail.
And there are still a couple of them in use on the main line today, as well as over 20 in preservation as well. So they've really got that solid dependency there. And the liveries that we're seeing them available in now covered in 1970s and 80s in the BR blue, but also that real up-to-date Network Rail livery that they carried for over 10 years in the 21st century as well.
But this is really one of those creme de la creme models from Hornby, isn't it? Their 31 is regarded as probably one of the best diesel 00 gauge locos we've seen ever. There's incredible wealth of detail. As you will have been able to see from the photos, you've got the tooling variations in there for the later 31 there with those different lights on the front. And there's a few other differences in there too, but you've got a working rotating fan on the roof, the doors open, you've got sprung buffers, you've got NEM couplings, you've got die-cast chassis, you've got the works. So it is really... If you want a 31, this is the ultimate way to do it.
It really is, and it's a great model for digital users as well, with fully working directional lighting. You've got a great amount of space in there for not only an 8-pin decoder, but a really big sound speaker as well, really replicating that English electric sound that these locos are really well known for as well, with the 12-cylinder power units.
That's it. It's one of your favourites, isn't it, David? 31,
I do have a soft spot for the 31s, actually. You may have guessed that, well, with me looking at them quite passionately there. But yeah, I've got a bit of a soft spot for those, but Hornby's model really does live up to that hype as
Absolutely.
well. And also we do have models available in other liveries too. We currently have them in BR green, so if you are a 1950s, 1960s modeler and these may be a little bit too modern for you, check out that link in the description, not only for the Network Rail and BR blue, but also for the BR green as well. So pretty much 60 years plus life of the 31s. You can order a model in 00 at the moment.
That's it. There's something for most eras there. And the beauty of the 31 is, being such a mass-produced locomotive and one of BR's very early designs, they really did want to get the value out of that loco, didn't they? So it's been seen everywhere.
That's it, and there's a lot of them still running today as well, as we touched on before, with over 20 in preservation. I think there was about 300 made originally as well, so used all over the country in the 1960s, 1970s and 80s, and then used right through into the 21st century in some really vibrant colour schemes as well.
Absolutely.
But that's not all we've had from Hornby when it comes to modern image this week, is it?
That's not all. We've had another fantastic diesel locomotive come through, and of course that's the Class 57 from Hornby,
yes,
which is part of the new Northern Belle train pack. And this comes included with 3 Mark II-D coaches to form this prestigious rail tour, which you can often see about on the railways today.
And this complements the previously released coach pack of Mark II-E vehicles. This really does complete the set, which is a rake of a rail tour that's essentially a modern luxury train that travels the UK's network. So you can either have it just with the coaches with a loco you've already got, or you can use the included Class 57 that we see there. And this is Hornby reusing one of their older toolings, but in a really contemporary livery. In fact, this locomotive was only painted in that colour about a year ago, so it's a really up-to-date model to have on your layout. But it does come with a lot of features as well. You've got the full 8-pin digital capacity in there, you've got NEM couplings, and as you can see, the coaches are just as detailed in that intricate Pullman livery as well.
It's something we touched on with a few of these new releases from Hornby, is that it's might be using one of the classic toolings there, which is still quite useful for a lot of different layouts, but it's been given a completely new lease of life with that new livery application on there. And the beauty of this is as well, it's coming in at a really low price for a 3-car train pack at just £135, which means it's a really great set to get, perhaps you're getting up and running, or you just want to get a whole train in one box ready to go. It really is a brilliant price for the amount of stock that you get in there.
I fully agree, and the opportunity of this is huge as well, as it does traverse the whole country, transporting luxurious diners and passengers, etc. on luxury trips, as we see on the screen there, number 57601. I think that looks like it's down the south, that somewhere, with the third rails there. So even though it's called the Northern Belle, you can see that it actually does spread its wings across the UK. So real opportunity there if you're looking for something different than your other modern image items, or you're looking like adding some new items to that as layout. It's already on the go as well.
It really is a striking look on the Pullman service, isn't it? It's something that we've seen in the UK for decades now, and it's amazing that that's still going in the UK, and that it's still something that you can experience today, and you can even experience it on your layout too with this fantastic train pack from Hornby.
That's it, and it is available to order right now, so check out that link in the description and order yours. But again, I think we'll come back to these in just a second though, because we've got a lot of comments lighting up here for these.
And
I thought we may have.
I want to make sure we don't miss any of these questions because there's a lot coming through there. We've got Ian B. Just on those Class 31s we looked at first,
yes.
He says, can we explain the naming of the yellow one? Because I believe that's called Driver Dave Green, this
It
locomotive.
is indeed. Now, from what I understand, this was actually one of the Network Rail drivers who was retiring. He had a locomotive named after him.
Not a bad retirement present, that, is it?
It's not a bad retirement present. And the interesting thing, you'll just about see it on the side there, is it's actually a steam locomotive style nameplate as well. Instead of being a more modern image style, it's actually got the full crest on it as well.
I wonder if he'd worked in the railway since the steam days, perhaps.
I think that's what it might be. I think he might have come up through the ranks and really come from the steam days right into the modern era. And as a bit of a homage to his history, they provided it in that traditional style. But that is the reason behind the name.
Not a bad retirement present, as we said there. So that's a cool one. So thank you for your great question there as well. Jeremy Olsenka says, loves the Network Rail colour. King Ori, there's just one at the moment. It went beyond it on the main line. Carib, this, I think the name is.
Yes, for the 31128, I believe, is the number of that one.
Great encyclopedic knowledge there. We've got Southway 1943 asks, do all the lights work on the Network Rail 31?
On the 31, the Network Rail lights, the additional lights, do not work. They are just cosmetic, but the high intensity headlight, the head code, or the former head code light, shall we say, and the directional reverse lights do work. So pretty much everything apart from the specific Network Rail ones, but it could be a little project to get some LEDs in there and
right for a bit of modification, that one, isn't it, really? I'd love to see that if anyone wanted to do a project on that as well. James Akers says, hope you're well, guys. We certainly are. Hope you're well too. Reckons the yellow Class 31 would work quite well with an RHTT. Is the 31 available in any of the liveries or just the two shown? As we say, we've got the Network Rail and the BR Blue ones in stock, and we do also have a BR Green models in stock as well, so there's a few different options there.
And another quick point there as well is Hornby has made these in a lot of liveries over the years since introduction to pretty much every livery carried by the class, through the rail freight liveries and some of the early 21st century liveries such as Fragonset there, which we do get from time to time on our pre-owned section as well, so keep an eye there as well. If these free liveries aren't quite for you, there's some other really nice colour schemes that do come up from time to time as well.
So always checking that pre-owned department for all the different items that we get in as well, because it is a really big variation there.
Yes.
And as well, like you said about the RHTTs, I think they could have been seen on the RHTT duties when they were back in service with the Network Rail, so definitely that's something you could do.
Yeah.
And it's a really lovely highly detailed Loco to go with your highly detailed RHTT as well.
Yeah.
We've got Ethan Amstutz says, tempted by the 31, classic traction, odd isn't it? The first and second generation diesels that replace steam are now themselves museum pieces. We've got up to that point now, haven't we? Yeah.
These are getting on for 60 years old plus in real life, but still reliable workhorses too.
Absolutely. Testament to the design, really. We've got Rocky Road TMD says, can't wait to buy a 31 for their layout soon. King Ori, Loco looks nice, but very similar to the 47 with the Northern Belle pack there. And Ono Mulder says, awesome set, the Northern Belle. It really is, especially for the price. It's a great set that you're getting there with a lot of great Mark II stock with it.
It's really worth taking a closer look at.
Absolutely.
As is the crane.
As is the crane. So, as you touched on a second ago, that wasn't all this week. We've got even more modern image stuff for you here. And this is the welcome return of Hornby's classic breakdown crane, as you can see on screen now.
And this has been in the range for quite a few years now, but it has been missing for some time, especially in this 1970s, 1980s style livery as we see here. And this really is a staple of the range. A lot of layouts need this intricate item, more to sort of add a bit of interest alongside more traditional coaches and wagons. A crane It's not something you see every day, both on a model railway and in real life as well, but it just adds that extra little dimension with some interesting engineering traffic, or maybe rescuing a derailed loco on a hard corner of your layout, so to speak.
As you say, it's just something that adds a bit more of an interest factor. It's something a bit different. Maybe you're making a diorama or a different scene on your layout. It really can fit in a lot of places. And the beauty of one of these is there's a lot of play value as well.
Yes.
You've got the entire base of the crane is movable.
I didn't think you could resist.
I was going to have a play with this, wasn't I? And the actual winching mechanism works as well, so you can adjust, if I get the right one, you can adjust the jib up and down with the little handles on the side, and you can also use the winch as well to lower the actual hook
boom as well.
on the boom there, which is just really great for the for a bit of play factor there.
But at the same time, even though it has play factor, this isn't a toy. It is a fully detailed model as well. You can see some of the intricate livery application that we've got here as well. It does include all 4 vehicles. You've got the crane, the runner vehicle, and the 2 match wagons as well as part of the set, and that comes in at £58.50, which for a full engineer's rate such as that, it really is a bargain price.
It's a big item, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's not lacking on parts here either. This is all metal chains here. The jib is metal itself too. And there's some great detail here with the intricately applied BR Engineers yellow livery. Again, it's another one of Hornby's classic items, but they've really brought it up to date with this fantastic livery scheme that they've applied here. And of course, this is based on a real crane as well, isn't it? Because there was about 15, 20 odd Cowans and Sheldon 76-ton cranes that were built in real life. Slight differences between them, but this is a general base on those cranes. So it is actually based on a real prototype as well.
It is indeed, and this one was based in the southeast of the country, but cranes of this type or of very similar types were based all over the UK, from the steam era right through to the current day as well. There's still a couple of these in active service. There's a few that have gone through into preservation as well in these liveries too. I believe there's actually one in the one-to-one collection at Hornby's, Hornby's place, shall we say, in Margate as well. So there's a museum quality crane out there too. And this particular vehicle in real life was built as a diesel powered crane, but a lot of them were actually built as steam powered and converted in the later years as well. So once you start digging into it, there's actually some real characterful history behind the cranes. They do sometimes fall out of the limelight, where you've got larger locos, diesels, steam, as you see, but they do have a character all of their own as well, and you can bring that to your layout.
It's like you say, it's because these are often lesser seen things. You're not always going to be able to see this, you know, in general places on the network. It's always going to be, you know, things tend to break down in the most awkward of places especially, so that's where it would have been going. But obviously, like you say, it could be used for infrastructure duties, engineering duties. There's quite a lot of scope for one of these. And as we touched on, you've got that full posability in there as well, so even if you don't want to be playing with it, you can actually use these to maneuver it into the position you want. Perhaps you do want to leave it in a particular place on your layout. You could have that set up as part of a scene, because you've got the full operational opportunities there with it.
But at the same time as well, with full couplings on each end and full metal wheels in there as well, it can form a useful part of an engineer's rake on your layout as well. So even if you don't want the posability factor of it, but looking at those photos there, it's quite hard to resist, you can use it as part of an engineer's rake, which is hauled, especially in the BR yellow livery here, by pretty much every diesel locomotive you can imagine.
Absolutely. You can match it up one of those BR Blue 31s that we just showed you, or quite a lot of other stock out there as well.
Not a bad pairing there. Not a bad pairing at all. We do have these available right now to order as well, so check out that link in the description if you'd like to place your order.
That's it. We've got King Ori down in the chat, and he says the crane would look nice with the 31, just as I said there. We've got...
You know what? I'm going to do it.
I knew you wouldn't be able to resist doing that. Let's get a train on the go.
There we go. It does look good, I agree.
That works perfectly. That works perfectly. We've got Jeremy Alsenka says he's seen a crane at Burton on Trent in the bit before. We've got Sammy B Film says it's a great piece of stock to have, and he thinks he likes the black crane more.
The black's more of the 1950s livery, and they were available in the past, and there's a good chance that Hornby will release those again in the future. But touching on a point we just made regarding seeing one in Burton-on-Trent, you'll find that a lot of these are based in strategic locations around the country, so they're quickly accessible to get to wherever they're needed. So if you have a depot layout with a spare siding, that is the perfect place to have one of these just waiting for its chance to shine.
They're always ready to spring into action, aren't they? We've got John Fenney as well, says, what radio radius of curve will it traverse?
It will get round a second radius curve. The couplings are actually quite lenient on it. So, and with the boom down as well, you can get it round a second radius curve.
It's like you say, I think we haven't seen the last of this crane yet as well. No. It's kind of made a bit of a return to Hornby's range here, and with the popularity that this has seen in the past, I don't think this is the last we'll see of it. Potentially more livery options there in the future as well. But again, it's still not everything from Hornby this week, is it? We've got some more classic items to look at now, which I'm sure you will have seen on the table here as well. But which one do you want to go for first, Dave?
I think we should look at the Pug first there, really.
Right there in front, let's do it.
Now this, again, is a return to the range after, I think it's about 6 or 7 years since we've seen this included. And this is the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway Class 21 Pug. These were actually built in real life from 1891 onwards and used all across the Lancashire and Yorkshire network. But when it came into the LMS days, as we see in the liveries there in the 1930s and 40s, these locos really spread their wings. Very small size and wheelbase, but powerful capacity, and for the size as well, made them brilliant locomotives for dockyards, small shunting yards with really tight track in them. So even though they were built in the northwest of England, once the LMS came about in 1923, they really started to spread their wings. Some of them headed to Bristol, some of them headed just up to the Scottish borders as well. I believe there was 1 or 2 in use in the London suburbs as well. So
they did get around. Yeah.
Really dependable design used right up until the end of BR Steam, with 2 of them still around today. So it's really great to see this characterful loco captured again in Hornby's model. It's
something that's been a bit of a favourite in preservation as well, haven't there? There isn't that many preserved, as you stated, but they have made the rounds a little bit.
Yeah.
And they were able to be seen quite a lot. And obviously, like you said, we've got the LMS and the BR Black liveries here, and it's a fantastic classic model. There's a lot of detail here, which you don't really quite often expect with a loco of this size. But you've got your smoke box dart there on the front. There's separately fitted handrails on here. You've got interior detail and full on the boiler sides as well. So it is quite a nice loco for the price, especially.
And it's a loco that a lot of people have been asking to make a return to the catalogue as well. It is a little bit of a gap in the market to have this small dockyard shunter out there. But now it's back in the range, and it really does complement other locomotives that are available as well. So Hornby's own Peckett, the 040 and the 060, are really great small shunters as well. Our own Andrew Barclay as well is a very similar size locomotive to this, used for those sort of duties. So it really is the time for the model of the small steam locomotive at the moment, and to see Hornby's Pug back in the range just brings that even further.
We all know that it's been a boom for industrial steam, really. There's been so many fantastic locos coming out, and it was about time that the Pug returned to the range as well, because it is such an identifiable loco, and there is a bit of a cult following behind the little old Pug there. So it is really nice to see this one return to the range once again.
And they are available to order right now as well. So as ever, take a look at that link in the description. They're available for £62, those. So check out that link and order yours now.
Brilliant, you'll definitely want to check that out. We'll give you another quick look at the photos there, because we went through those very quickly. So as we said again, we've got 11244 there in LMS, and we've got 51207 in the BR Black livery. So once again, really great to see these come back. We've got quite a few comments in the chat about this. We've got Real Sponge _O says, are the new Hornby Pugs digital ready?
They aren't digital ready, they don't have a socket in them, but they are one of the easiest locos to actually solder your own decoder into. So if you're a dab hand with a soldering iron, it's really easy to access that motor and put your decoder in. But if you're not feeling quite up to the task, we do offer a digital fitting service as well for these. So if you want one digital fitted, we can sort it for you.
Brilliant. We've got Nathan here, says his granddad remembers seeing pugs on the industrial lines around Salford and Trafford over in Manchester, and crossing through the streets as a man with a flag stopped the traffic. So there was quite a lot of that industrial traffic that went on quite late, really, for steam, wasn't there?
These locos ran right into the 1960s, which for a Victorian design is quite a rarity, but some of the examples just mentioned there, thank you very much by the way, really give some of those unusual layout ideas of not quite having hundreds of coaches and big prestigious express locomotives, but actually having some really characterful cameos of a little locomotive and a couple of wagons just threading its way through some industrial sites and down the side of streets, etc. It really is quite an alternative layout idea, but some real opportunities there as well if you did fancy modelling something a little bit different.
There are so many opportunities with these because of their small size as well. There's so many different layouts you can fit one of these onto, and obviously you only need a few wagons really to get a full train with one of these, as they were shunters and small little trips they might have done. But yeah, as you say, they worked at industrial sites everywhere, so there's a lot of potential here, and I'd love to see some of your layout ideas for these as well. We've got Sammy B Films says, love the Pug Locos. Ethan Amstutz says, love the Pug, and he's got one of the older Hornby ones. Gareth Waite says, oh, now they are a thing of beauty. And James Akers says, the Pug's quite a cute loco. It really are quite a cute loco, actually, I think.
It is.
That chunky industrial vibe, but they're so tiny at the same time.
That's it, but at the same time, it does hide its sort of powerful, purposeful workhorse duties as well, really. So as much as they are quite a nice little locomotive to look at, they are quite a dependable design as well, both the real locos and the Model 2.
And they prove that with their incredible lifespan as well.
Yes.
So we're going to go from tiny to absolutely huge steam locos now, aren't we? And we've got, as you will be able to see, there's already comments lighting up about this one. It's Hornby's Class A4, and this is the latest variation that's very recently come into stock, showcasing number 4464 Bitten in its current preserved condition as part of that one-to-one collection that Dave mentioned earlier, which is Hornby's place down in Margate. And as you can see, it's got 2 tenders. Something
a little bit different on this A4 is actually adding the extra capacity. This is another water container to allow it to travel further distances on the main line. With a lot less places where locomotives can water up now on the national network, they've actually given it an increased capacity to work there with a second tender, which is only one of 2 locomotives, I understand, on the UK network to work with them. The other is Flying Scotsman back in the 1960s and 1970s.
I'm glad you mentioned that one, really, because we've also had that recently come into stock.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that one's pretty much sold through very quickly. We've still got Bitten here available to purchase, but it is very interesting that it was the A3s and the A4s that have both had that double tender scheme going on, which is not something we've seen with any other locos.
And it really increases that capacity for them to work on the main line. They can now do hundreds and hundreds of miles without having to refuel along the way. And the interesting element as well, certainly on this tender, is that they've accommodated the corridor as well between the locomotive and the coach usually, but now they have an extra vehicle to pass through as well. So it's actually quite rare to see this second tender used in real life, but at the same time where it does come out, it does just make you do a double take, really.
Absolutely,
because the locomotive suddenly gains quite a bit of length, and it really does change the image of it.
But even just as a collectible item, I think it's really fantastic that this is now available, as it is showcasing Bitten in its bang up-to-date condition right now, as you can see as part of the one-to-one collection down in Margate. And as ever with Hornby's A4, this is a wonderful model here, really. It's absolutely feature-rich. You've got lovely detailed co-load in there. You've got separately fitted handrails and all the details you'd expect from an A4. The shape of the model is fantastic as well, because it is a very difficult shape to get on the A4 there. You've got your sprung buffers, full digital capability, you've got an interior there, and that second tender as well, that's just as nicely detailed as the rest of the model as well, which is great to see.
It is indeed. This is one of the flagships of Hornby's range and has been since it was first released, but it's actually only the second time the A4 has been released with the double tender as well. The last one was about 10 years ago, and it was the same locomotive but in the BR green livery rather than the Garter blue. So as you touched on before as well, this is a strictly limited edition of 1,000, so there's not many of them around, and I don't think we're going to see it for much longer as well.
Really going to want to click that link in the description and get your order in now if you want one of these, because they will not stick around.
But we do have them available to order right now as well, so take a look, and they are available to order.
As I said, the comments were lighting up for these as well. We've got Charles Curtis says, loves Bitten with the 2 tenders. Oliver Chapman says the A4 with the 2 tenders looks great. We've got quite a few here. We've got King Ori says, looks amazing at Margate, and they've gotten to see it themselves.
Okay.
We've got Ian B says, for anyone interested in the A4s, Sir Nigel Gresley is semi-naked at the NRM at the moment. Whole boiler on show, well worth going to see.
I believe so. It's just on its way back, that actually. It's on the comeback trail at the National Railway Museum, so we should see it back in service in the next couple of years.
We've got King Ari says that second tender is actually from Scotsman.
Ah, okay. I did think that it might have come from it at some point down the line, so a little bit of railway history coming through there as well.
Interesting one there, so it extends that link even more between the A3 and the A4.
Yes.
We've got Ben Davis says that A4 looks so beautiful, wish we could have one. Oliver Chapman also says the A4 would be great with TTS sound, which you can do.
Yes, we do have the TTS sound decoder available for the A4 as well. So it's actually a really easy fit to put in the tender because the 8-pin digital socket's in there, but also space for the decoder and the speaker as well. So take a look at our website if you do want a TTS sound decoder for the A4 at the same time as picking up your Bitten.
Brilliant. So we've talked a lot about locomotives already today, and I think we've got to move on to some rolling stock, a bit of wagons now, haven't we?
Sounds good to me.
And we've got a duo of news about cargo wagons, haven't we, from 2 different manufacturers?
We have indeed. It's unusual that the stars align like this, really,
Yeah.
but they certainly have done. And this is something that's for N-gauge modelers and double O as well. And the first we've had is Dapol's N-gauge model, which has now come back into stock. And this has been out of the catalogue for about 6 or 7 years and is probably one of the most anticipated items in N-gauge to come in for quite some time. These are available for £19 each in a variety of different liveries that you see on the screen there. The real vehicles were introduced in the late 1970s. They're actually one of the first international trains used on the BR system. They were transported on ferries between the UK and mainland Europe as well, transporting a lot of different types of freight. Some of them are still in use today as well, all across Europe. So some real opportunities there for both UK and continental modelers. But a lot of UK-based liveries too. So you've got the Blue Circle cement there that you see on the moment that was purely inside the UK. And it's actually the first time they've released this model in that livery as well.
That's it. It's great to have this one back in the range. As you can see from the shot there, there's quite a variety of liveries available covering much of the lifespan of these wagons. As Dave said, they're still around today as well. Yes. As you said too, we've got this Blue Circle one, which is the first time we've seen this. But it's a wonderful model, this. The detail on it is incredible. You've got full end detail there with handrails and different pieces on. And the livery is superb. I'm just taking a really close look myself at these data panels and all the warning panels on the side. I can read those.
This is really
incredible.
This is really the point on Britain's railway network where a lot of that safety branding came in as well in the late 1970s, early 1980s. So to get it on this model at that size for that price as well is something really special indeed. And as you can see from some of the images online as well and on our webpage, if you take a closer look at that link in the description, you don't need a whole rake of these. You can put these in a freight with lots of other different vehicles going from the UK to the continent or vice versa. You can have them in a block train as well, so you've got lots of the same vehicle repeating itself throughout the rake. So the opportunities there, whether you fancy just a couple of these vehicles and whether you want a full rake of them as well. But it is quite an unusual design for the UK, especially at the time when shorter vehicles, four-wheel wagons, were still really prominent on the network.
I'm glad you mentioned that, really, because they were pretty much a bit of a revolution for the UK, because they were the sort of first big wagon in the UK, really, and the first of the sort of international trains that we got to see. And of course, remember, this is before the Channel Tunnel was built. So there was a lot of this international cargo going on even before we had the tunnel link there. And as you say, from the 1970s through to now, they're still in use today as this huge wagon style, and it has had quite an influence on UK rolling stock as well.
And the interesting thing that always gets me with these as well is they're a lot longer than most UK locos as well. So you always think of the Loco being the biggest component and then a lot of little wagons behind, but actually with these, the wagons start to overshadow the locomotive, so to speak. So,
I mean, if we even compare it to the double O gauge 31, you can see that's over half the length in N gauge of the Loco. So you can imagine what the double O size one would be in comparison to that.
They really are impressive vehicles, both in real life and model form as well. So check out that link in the description if you're an N gauge modeler, and order now. But if you're a double O gauge modeler, Helgen have announced that their models are returning to the range as well. must have got a bit of something on the wind there, I think.
It's all about the cargo wagons at the moment.
It is all about the cargo wagons, but again, this model has been out of Helgen's catalogue for about 6 or 7 years now, but a lot of people have been asking for it to return, and Helgen have done exactly the same thing. A lot of the traditional liveries we see on the screen at the moment, with some quite intricately weathered versions too and graffitied, but also they're bringing some new liveries to the range for the first time as well. Similar to Dapol, who've brought through the Blue Circle cement. We can see in just one moment 1 or 2 of those new liveries. Here we are, the Rail Adventure livery, which is still in use today as well. And this is actually a barrier wagon in real life, so this is used to help transport multiple units and other passenger stock. So it's one of those places where the trains have been repurposed, but gives you a great opportunity to just have a couple of wagons and something really different on your layout.
I was just going to say, there's some great opportunities with these to make some really different scenes on your layout if you want to do some DMU transport across your layout, something with a bit of a breakdown theme, or if you just want to do what they were built to do and do some intercontinental freight workings. It's totally up to you, and there's a lot of options for these as well. And at £19 for the level of detail each you're getting for the Dapol N-gauge ones, and then of course with the Helgen ones they're coming through at about £35 for the pristine ones and then £37 for the weathered ones.
Yes.
They're really not a bad price for the size of the thing that you get and the level of detail that will be present on both. With the Helgen ones there as well, as you touched on, we're getting those new liveries in there with the Rail Adventure, but I'm really excited to see those graffitied and weathered ones coming through, because from the pictures that you see online, that's pretty much the state they're in all the time with the graffiti on it.
And as we saw last week as well on the previous live stream we did, we had Helgen's O-gauge Deltic, which was pre-weathered. Now, Helgen's factory weathering at the moment, as it is delivered, is some of the best out there.
Astronomically good.
The quality of those weathered models coming through. We understand that is a bit chalk and cheese for some people, where some people love it and some people hate it. But if weathered models are for you, the Helgen ones are the ones to take a look at, because they really do come through with some exquisite detailing on there. And the model itself doesn't disappoint as well. You've got the, you know the score, guys. It's got NEM couplings, a full wealth of separately fitted details on there as well. Metal wheel sets, they'll go around radius 2 curves, even with that length of wagon as well. So whether you're an N-gauge modeler and are really tempted by what we have now, or whether you're a double O-gauge modeler, you've got something coming in the middle of next year.
Absolutely. And you can even get the cargo wagons in O-gauge as well. You can just imagine how big those are going to be. But you can still get those on our website too. So do check those out on the website. But if you want to get hold of the N-gauge ones, which are out now, check out the link. And if you want to pre-order your double O-gauge ones, check out the other link we've got down there as well, and you can get sorted out. Right, we've got Bluegrass Rail fan in the comments, says for the Dapol N-gauge cargo wagons, he saw those on the site the other day and he's very tempted. He just needs a Loco to run with them. Of course, with them running from the 70s right up to now, there's a lot of choice there with what locos you want to run. Diesel and electric.
There certainly is. A lot of modern locomotives, even going back to your BR Blue liveries, can be used with these. But as ever, if you want to make it absolutely certain that you know you've got something in your collection, drop us a quick message or get in touch with our customer experience team, and we'll give you some great guidance as to what locomotives can run with what. And that's not just for the cargo wagons either. If you've any questions along that line at all, do get in touch.
Absolutely. We've also got Bluegrass here again, and he said, how long are the prototype wagons? I am not sure.
I'm not sure off the top of my head, actually. They're quite lengthy is probably my go-to term at the moment, really. I would estimate about 70 feet.
Yeah.
Really.
I'm trying to compare it to something else for a bit of reference, but maybe...
Certainly, I think it's about the same length as a Mark III coach, which is one of the longest coaches in use in the UK.
Yeah,
as well.
Maybe a bit bigger even,
maybe a little bit bigger, but certainly one of the longest railway vehicles in use in the UK.
Well, we've talked a little bit about Helgen's upcoming releases there, but that's not all from Helgen. We've had even more updates. So we're going to try and get through these a little bit quickly. We've got about 20 minutes left on the stream. Remember, do get your questions down in the chat as well. We can answer them about any of the stuff we're talking about here, and we should have a bit of time for a Q&A at the end as well. So do get your questions down there and we can see what we can answer. But the first we've got from Helgen here is an update on their double O-gauge Classy 33. And this is actually a new engineering prototype for the retooled version, which features the high-intensity headlight on the front, as you can see there.
And this is some very quick progress, as it was only announced at the Wally show a number of weeks ago. This is for the modern variations we see from the 1980s onwards. So there's a couple of BR Blue and BR Green liveries, as we see there, but also some more contemporary liveries. You've got the EWS and the West Coast Railways in the bottom corner. So some great opportunities there for people who model those more contemporary eras to have some classic traction on the layouts. The Class 33s were built in the early to mid 1960s, so to see some of those colour schemes come through, not only the more traditional blue and green, but also, as you see there, the Dutch livery, some of the triple greys, as is coming up on the screen there now as well. Some great opportunities to get these with a lot of variety of traffic, almost, really, for the options.
Absolutely.
They did haul a bit of everything.
It's a bit like the 31 we talked about before as well. It's one of those really classic early BR designs there, but one of those stalwarts that managed to stay on really long into the privatisation era as well. As you can see there, you've got EWS and West Coast Railway Company coming through there as well. So there really is a lot of operational opportunities with those, and it's shaping up to be a fantastic model, with Helgen just going the extra mile to get that retool just right, making sure that that does cover the model in as accurate a condition as possible.
And we're expecting those in the middle of 2020, and they are available to pre-order right now. If you click that link on the description, you can see the full details regarding deliveries there as well. But that's keeping with the classic traction theme. They've also given us an update on their O-Gauge Class 37-4 as well, with 3 new liveries announced, with a lot more modern liveries than originally released.
As you can see, we've got a few photos of these. We've got DRS unbranded blue, which you can actually still see about today. Again, Colas Rail livery, another one which is bang up to date there that you can see on the network. Obviously, hauling some lovely Mark II coaches there up to Rimney. And then the final one is a little bit older, but still into the 21st century here, is the EWS Royal Scotsman Maroon livery. And these are looking fantastic. We've not got any artwork, unfortunately, at the moment, but I would expect that we should have more updates on this as we go forward from Helgen.
Yes, it's a great model, the 37-4. It's something we've had in for a couple of months now, actually.
It's one of your favourites, isn't it?
We do still have some available in the original liveries as well for 1980s and 1990s modelers, as we see on the screen there. We've got the large logo blue, we've got the Heritage BR green, as we see there too. So quite a lot of opportunities to get one of these onto your layout. But if you fancy that bang up-to-date livery, you are now able to pre-order those 3 new variations as well. So check out that link in the description, and the full details are there.
Absolutely. It's a great time to get into O-Gauge now. It's something we mentioned recently with the other new announcements and updates from Helgen. Obviously, they're coming out with the new Mark II coaches as well. And there's a lot of other stock from other manufacturers coming through. So if you're an up-to-date modeler and you're looking for something to do in O-Gauge, there's lots on the way for you. There's lots of fantastic Locos and rolling stock coming forward. So it's the time to be there.
And one of those Locos is a 17, isn't it?
It is. And we've got a picture of that for you here. So Helgen supplied us an image of an updated engineering sample for their 17, as you can see here. And this is looking fantastic here. Obviously, we've seen the 17 in 00 before, but it's great to see this one coming through in O. Bit of a distinctive look on the 17. Obviously, a bit of a controversial one in real life, because it was a bit of a pain in real life, I believe, in operation. But it did see a lot of use up in Scotland. And there are some in preservation today, so it is a quality model that we're going to see here in O-Gauge.
There is indeed, and it is one of those locomotives that are quite unreliable in real life, but certainly not in model form as well. Helgen's 00 models available in a couple of different liveries at the moment, but to see it coming through in O-Gauge gives some great opportunities for these running alongside steam locomotives, but also some of those pioneering BR Blue liveries into the 1970s as well. So 4 variations are available to pre-order at the moment. We're expecting those in late 2020, but do keep your eyes on the page, sign up for the notifications, and as soon as we get more information, we'll let you know.
I think we'll be seeing much more on that one pretty soon.
Yes.
We've got a few comments here. We've got Southway 1943 says they can't wait for the Dutch liveried 33. We've got Medway Peninsula Model Railway says looking forward to getting the twin pack of 33s, the Isle of Grain and Shakespeare Cliff.
Yes.
That's a good point on the 33s actually. The high intensity headlight variations aren't the only ones that are coming through from Helgen. There's another batch of the original 33s coming through, available as train packs with some wagons with them, and the twin pack as Medway Peninsula is getting as well. So do check out that link in the description and you can find out all about the entire range of 33s that are coming through, because there's loads of them. And we've also got King Ori here, says he's been behind 2 33s, double-headed on the main line. That must have been awesome.
Well, the West Coast Railways variation we have available on order at the moment is still in use today as well on the main line, so you can replicate some classic traction even coming right up into the 2020s as well.
Absolutely. Now, there's quite a big model here right in front of me that we've not talked about for the entire show. And I think we're going to have to mention it now, aren't we? And this
definitely.
is the latest release of the Real Track models, 00 gauge Class 156. We've got the original livery that we got into stock here, just behind the one in the front, which is the East Midlands Trains livery. And the latest version we've had, which has just arrived in stock, is the British Rail Provincial livery, which is the original livery that the 156s carried.
These really are the Rolls Royce of 00 models. There's a huge amount of detail that's gone into these, as you can see in the images here. Both cars have motors in them, so in effect you are getting two locomotives in a set. Plus there's lots of different livery variations, fully working lights, digital capacity, a highly detailed interior, hundreds and hundreds of separately fitted parts. As you can see during the close-up, you've got separate lamp brackets and handrails as well. An absolutely exquisite model, really, with full details there. And great to see it available now in this original provincial livery that crossed so much of the country from the late 1980s, either as the Sprinter or the Super Sprinter branding. A lot of people will be familiar with these, and that's replicated by the models that are available to order. If you click that link in the description, you'll see that there's 5 variations available of this, all with different destinations for parts of the country. So you have duties such as the Inverness to Glasgow model, which is available for the Highlands of Scotland. You have the Liverpool to Norwich train,
which is the one we've got here, of course.
Which is what we've got there with, well, Liverpool we couldn't resist, really. So a lot of different head code variations there, really showcasing where the models can go all across the country on any layout. And that really sets the tone for the level of detail that they have those versions already available. You don't have to worry about putting in the head code panels, etc.
It's a really nice touch that they were able to do that, yeah.
That starts the story, and the level of detail just doesn't stop from there.
You will have seen me just having a good peer at this one, to be honest, and it's one of those models that's got to be seen to be believed, really.
Yes.
You can't get across just how much detail these have. It's from the separately fitted exhaust pipe module here, which I think that is etched metal on there, which is wow, that's unbelievable. You've got separately fitted pieces on the underframe here, so you can see the gearbox down there, which is picked out in the correct colour. You've got all of the boxes down the side and the pipe work and everything. You've got the speedo drive on the wheel sets there, which is incredible. You've got separately fitted snow plows on the front, which you can fit if you like. They come in a detail pack. There is other pieces in the detail pack to fit if you so wish as well. You've got separately fitted wiper blades on the windows. It really is the creme de la creme, this one. It's an incredible model. One thing that I really love as well is the interiors on these models.
Yes.
You've got the full correctly placed seating layouts in there with the table seats and the airline style seats as well. But they've gone so far as to actually paint them up correctly for each livery. So with the provincial liveried one here, we've got the grey seating, and I believe there's a bit of a carpet going down the centre there, but I can't quite tell the colour there. But on the East Midlands one, we've actually got red seating in there, which is accurate as to what they will be in real life. And I think that's just an incredible touch there.
It is that attention to detail which really rewards people who buy one of these Real Track 156s. And of course, as we've mentioned, both liveries are available to order right now with a variety of different destinations and running numbers on there as well. If you click that link on the description, full details are there, as well as some really high definition photos which show you just some of those intricate details that we've been talking about there as well.
You will want to get your hands on one of these, and there's an opportunity to run these for a huge range of layouts throughout the country.
Yes.
The 156 has seen a lot of use, mostly in the north, but they've also been seen in the eastern regions as well and elsewhere. So there's a lot of different opportunities. As Dave said as well, you've got those different destination blind options there too, so you can pretty much get started straight out of the box. And these are available at £230. Click that link in the description now and you can find out all about them and get your order in as well. Right, we've got a few comments here. We've got Clive Cobalt says the Class 156 looks great. Nathan says, love the 156 in the Sprinter livery, bang on for his era, so you're going to have to get one of those, Nathan. Southway 1943 says, so want the Real Track provincial livery, but with the Birmingham destination version. Ono Mulder says, love those DMUs. Graham Hill Sheffield Junction says, looking to get both of the 156 models. And Southway 1943 says, does it have working passenger lights?
It does indeed. The passenger door lights on the side of the East Midlands train version do work, and the interiors have full lighting as well.
And of course they do have full directional lights on them as well.
Yes.
Right, so I think we're going to come to our real life story of the week now, aren't we? And it's probably going to have a bit of a mixed emotions for some people
yeah,
here, really.
It's a bit of an end of an era, isn't it?
It is.
Really?
And this is the end of the line for Virgin, who tomorrow, I believe, will be running their final service with a Pendolino from Manchester to London. This will be leaving at 8:35 p.m. and getting in at 11:39 p.m. So if you did want to take a ride on that train, you know when it is to go out and try and get it. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people there taking photos as well. And this is 22 years of operation for Virgin coming to an end there. And I believe that is the UK's longest running privatised franchise.
I believe so.
Which is incredible, really.
They started right at the start of privatisation in the mid-1990s, refurbishing a lot of the currently available trains, such as the Class 87s and Mark IIIs. As we see there, we do currently have some models of those available at the moment as well, if you want to replicate those eras, but bringing through a real legacy as well, really, of replacing these older locomotives and classic traction as we see here, such as the 47 as well, bringing in trains like the Pendolino for Virgin Trains West Coast, the Voyagers as well for the cross-country workings too. So some real iconic trains coming through, some modern trains, but also at the same time, as you mentioned before, quite bittersweet for some people, seeing those classic designs disappearing from the network, but also bringing through some of the modern, or the most modern trains at the time as well.
Absolutely. Virgin really did get a great name for themselves by completely revolutionising the services on the West Coast Main Line. As Dave touched on there, they were operating the hand-me-downs from British Rail, really, with the Class 47s you saw there, the 87s, 86s, and some other locos as well, with Mark II and Mark III rolling stock. And they really did fight to revolutionise the services there. We saw the Pendolinos come through, and they obviously featured tilting mechanisms, and they were capable of fantastic speeds, much nicer experience than what we'd experienced before on those services. And it was amazing that they were able to get that through, but obviously all good things must come to an end, and we're going even further now with a new operator called Avanti. And this is operated by First and Trenitalia. And they've actually just revealed their new livery scheme, which they're going to be applying to the Pendolinos, which you can see on screen now.
They have indeed, and this completely changes the look of that design. It's quite hard to think that the Pendolinos are coming up for almost 20 years old now. They still do look quite modern and sleek, and this livery really brings that back to the fore, makes them look almost like a whole new design. But we've heard a lot from the company as well. They're intending to bring in bi-mode trains to replace some of the diesel Voyager units that they have, extended services across Wales and into the northwest of England as well. So some real opportunities for growth here. It will be a very tough act to follow, but
absolutely
quite interesting to see some of the plans they've got coming through as well.
All things change at the end of the day. That's especially the nature with the privatised railways nowadays. We've seen even this East Midlands livery 156 that we've got on the table here. East Midlands now no longer operate. We've got East Midlands Railways now down in that region. So everything is prone to change, but that is sort of the beauty of the railways and the beauty of modelling as well, is that there's lots of opportunities for you to try out different things on your layout. I'm sure Avanti will do a great job as well, but there's a lot coming forward as well. But obviously I think a few of you guys will probably be a little bit sad about seeing the Virgin colours go away, but obviously there's been a lot of use out there for it, and there's been a lot of great models come through as well for your layouts. As we touched on before, we've got those fantastic 87s, which I'll pop onto the screen again for you now. Really lovely locomotive.
And for modelers who really do want to recreate those first days of Virgin trains, we do have the Class 87 as you see on the screen. We've also got the Mark III coaches and the driving van trailers. So if you're a fan of that classic Virgin livery and want to commemorate its passing, click that link in the description, as we do have all those available to order right now, and you can start off your own bit of modern history.
Absolutely. And as you touched on before with our pre-owned department, we do quite often get the Pendolino sets through, as well as the Voyagers sometimes as well. So it's always worth checking that out if you wanted something from the modern era Virgin as well. But it'll be exciting to see what happens going forward. Of course, just across the way from Hattons, we've got the Alstom Centre, which has been repainting all of the Pendolinos over the past few months, and they're all painted into the white livery now. So it'll be interesting to see how they all look in that new Avanti colour scheme, and we'll see them zoom in past our base every day once they're in service. So we're quite excited to see that, and I'm sure you guys will be excited to see those out on the network too. Right, okay, so we've got a bit of an update for across the Christmas period now.
We have indeed. It's hard to ignore it. We're getting that close to Christmas now, really.
Where has the year gone? So we will be doing a couple of Christmas specials over the Christmas periods, which I'm sure you guys will be looking forward to. Now, what we'd like to do is, if you guys can send all of your questions in to us before the show, we will be able to answer them on there. We won't be completely live for these episodes. We'll be doing them pre-recorded, but we will be able to still answer your questions live on there. So if you pop your questions down either in the chat here, or if you could please send them in via messages to our social media, send us an email, anything like that, and we can get those down ready for those shows. Anything you want to ask us, do feel free to check it out, but we will be revealing more details about when those episodes will come out shortly.
We will indeed, so keep an eye on us and we'll let you know when we can tell you more.
That's it. Do make sure to like our Facebook page, check out our Twitter, get on our Instagram, and get on our website as well, and all the details will be available on there. But in the meantime, any questions you do have that you want us to feature or chat about in those 2 special episodes, let us know, and we can note those down for consideration. Right, we've got about 5 minutes left now, so we've got a bit of time for some comments.
Oh, my favourite part of this.
Your quick fire round here, Dave, so we can get through some stuff. Got a couple of comments on Virgin first, of course. We've got Bluegrass Rail Fan says constant on the railroad is change. Locomotive Firav says companies come and go, but the railroad is forever, which is a beautiful statement there. Got King Ori said should be an interesting scene at Euston with 390s, 800s, 350s, and maybe the last of the Voyagers. And then London International says they've just announced that they'll be ordering 23 Class 800s as well. So more excitement for the 800 story.
Another turn in the 800 story there as well. Some great models coming through in 00 and N-gauge as well.
Absolutely. Okay, right. What have we got for you here, Dave? We've got Bluegrass Rail Fan straight up here. And he says, one question I can think of off the top of my head. During the Big 4 era, did the railway's rolling stock stay on the home rails all the time, or did they tend to interchange it?
It mainly stayed where it was based under the company that operated it, but there were a lot of trains that they call through services. So for parts of the network that weren't owned by that company, say for example a train from the north of England to the south of England, would be hauled by a locomotive of another company, but the coaches would head off into that train as well. Rather than making people change trains at a middle station, they would send the coaches straight through as a through service. You'd have a different locomotive on the front, but that's a real opportunity to see some exotic coloured coaches in quite different locations. So real opportunity there for Big 4 model is if you want a couple of different liveries on your layout, have a look into some of those through services. Quite
a bit of useful advice there. Yeah, I was just saying, would you have seen a GWR goods van in a train with something from one of the other 3 on there? Just wondering when he's been building his train. So yeah, there is some opportunities for that kind of work, really. Will Braddock asks, is there any news on the Helgen 25, or are we still waiting on the decorated samples?
We are still waiting on the decorated samples of that. At the Wally show, they did have models shown of a pre-painted decorated sample, but the actual factory finished decorated samples are due very soon, apparently. And as soon as we get those, we'll be featuring it on our social media, on Platform 1 here as well. So subscribe to the channel and keep an eye on our social media pages. And as soon as we know, you'll know as well.
Absolutely. We've got Darren Letton here, says, hi guys, new to the hobby and needs to pop down to the shop at some point to pick our brains on setting up a layout. We'd gladly have you in the store. Do pop down and see us, and you can find out more about what you need to do to get started. Our guys in the store are great for that sort of advice as well. But in the meantime, if you can't quite make it down to the store, just give us a call if there's any advice that you need. Our help desk team are always there to provide advice, what you need to get started. And there's a lot of great guidance and a lot of products on our website that you can find to get your ball rolling as well with the hobby. So good luck on your journey as well.
It is a brilliant time to start off in the hobby at the moment, with a lot of great train sets available with some real variety in the contents as well. But as Jack said, get in touch in whatever way works best for you. If you want to give us a call, pop into our store, send us an email. We're available 7 days a week, so let us know how we can help.
That's it. We've got Ben Davis here asking about what locos are in our 12 deals of Christmas promotion. Now, that's a secret, that one. So you've got to check back every day. If you don't know, actually, we are running a 12 deals of Christmas promotion. We are on day 2 at the moment, and today is Helgen 009 Linton and Barnstable locomotives. And a lot of these deals are only available for the day that we put them on. So you do want to check back every day so you don't miss some fantastic deals that are coming through.
Absolute rock bottom prices on some of those items as well, to really get some great bargains in just in time for Christmas. The best way to keep in touch with those is to join our Facebook page as well. We always put an alert up there every single day for each of the 12 deals. As Jack said, we're on day 2 at the moment, so we've got 10 more to go, and we can't really tell you any more, but make sure you keep an eye on that page and you'll know as soon as they're released. But do bear in mind, very limited stock, 1 day only deals, rock bottom prices.
I'm liking that. Nice sales pitch there, Dave. We've got 00 N and O in there as well, so there is something for everyone too. We've got Graham Hill Sheffield Junction says, what do you charge to fit decoders? Now, it can vary really depending on the model, whether it's 00N or O gauge, what type of model it is, what sort of fitting will need to be done. What I would recommend you do is give our help desk a call and they can advise you further on how much that's going to cost. But you can also fit, if you're buying a new locomotive, you can add that as a fitting option when you're purchasing it as well, and the website will tell you how much it is. Right, unfortunately, guys, there's a lot of other great questions down there in the comments, but we've come to the end now. I'm very sorry. But if there is any of those that you do want us to ask, we might try and get those into our 2 Christmas special episodes in the future. Yes. And if there is anything else you want us to discuss, let us know via social media or emails or whatever way you want to do it. And we will try and get those into those 2 special episodes. But do keep an eye on our social media and our website, and we'll have more details about when those will be out as well.
We will indeed. And as ever, everything you see on the table and as we've featured in the show today is available to either order or pre-order right now from our website. So check out those links in the description for more information, or rewatch the show where we cover it as well. And make sure to subscribe to the channel, because we don't only do Platform 1, we put up some fantastic videos featuring all the updates on latest models, some running sessions, interviews and exhibition attendance as well. Something for everyone on there, really.
There really is. And also, don't forget to like our Facebook page, get on our Twitter page, get on our Instagram as well, and keep checking the website as well, because there's all the latest news constantly coming through. As you can see, there's been loads today on Platform 1, and we had to pick and choose what to get in here.
Yes.
So anything else will be posted on our website and on social media too, so you can get all the latest updates through there. Of course, don't miss our 12 deals of Christmas promotion, as we've just pointed out as well. And of course, the quick bit of breaking news we had at the start for Dapol's Class 68. Yes. You will want to get your pre-orders in for that one if you want to see that model happen, so check that out online as well. But I think that leaves nothing else but us to say goodbye. So we will see you guys next time, and thank you very much for watching.
Thanks, guys.